Hey guys, and welcome back to the Behind the Plate podcast, brought to you by 1IQ Sports. I'm Will, that's DJ. I scared him. But this is an urgent podcast, so it needed urgency at the beginning. The Toronto Blue Jays are finalists for Roki Sasaki, the number one Japanese arm coming over. It is getting serious. He can start signing with a team on Wednesday, but he has to sign by the 23rd. I personally expect him to sign like before the weekend. Just with the way everything's kind of gone, this feels like it's going to wrap up very quickly. So thankfully it won't drag on. Like, we should know by the end of the week if
for
he's
sure.
a Blue Jay or not. I'd be shocked. But it was a whirlwind of a day. We were getting hints yesterday, Sunday, from Scott Mitchell with TSN that maybe not. Roki Sasaki was in Toronto meeting with the team for a couple days. We didn't fully know if he was just trolling or if this was a legit source coming from him. He had mentioned and linked previous relations between the team and the player. And then Ken Rosenthal hit us today with, hey, yeah, no, they met on Thursday and Friday. And then we found out that the Padres got the last meeting with him because I doubt he'll meet with another team. And then every hour, a new team got eliminated today, which was actually really fun, especially when that Yankees tweet came in. Oh, it was like Jesus was born again.
Yeah, everyone seemed to be interested. So it's good to see the Yankees and Mets got eliminated.
And the Yankees were like one of the first of the final 7 or 8 teams to get eliminated too.
Right.
It was, it went like
it's good to see.
Yankees, Rangers, Mets, Cubs, Giants. Giants were the first one to get eliminated. And it was fun to watch. I definitely expected to see the Blue Jays are out tweet today because that would have just encapsulated the Toronto Blue Jays imperfectly. But then Jeff Passan gave us all a heart attack this afternoon and said that we're a finalist when he was like sent out his tweet announcing it. It was a wild time to be alive. It's a great time to be a Toronto Blue Jay fan.
I mean, hey.
10 years ago, if you would have told me that the Blue Jays were constantly in on a top free agent, I would have traded it for nothing. Like, it is what I would have wanted. And honestly, like, this is a lot more exciting than being a Colorado Rocky fan, where you wait a month for Thairo Estrada to be announced.
Right. Yeah, no, I think you're right. But we have had the most interest in everybody. We're in talks with every single top free agent.
Toronto interested.
Can we just land this last one and then Vladdy signs?
I heard third time's a charm, right?
Yeah, third time's a charm.
Stole from the Blue Jays. Stole merchandise from our spring training facility with his meeting last year. We whiffed on Soto, which I don't think any of us ever expected Soto to be a Blue Jay.
Right, yeah.
Why not us for Roki Sasaki?
Why not? How about every other?
When you go on 100 first dates, eventually you're going to get that second date. Is Roki Sasaki the second date?
I mean, I will say this is the first free agent in a while that I'm like, okay, we are not used as leverage, because what leverage does he have? Right? Coming overseas, it's basically there's a capped amount of money, which is fun. For once,
you can get $1 million more from another team for your signing bonus. So what?
Right. I know. So it would be very frustrating if the Dodgers somehow pull it out. But I think I know who you think is the favorites here. I don't know if you want to get into it right away, but it is interesting because I like international stars coming over here, and if we have a 23-year-old, he just seems so nice to fit in our rotation.
So I think we need to quickly preface for everyone wondering why the money's capped. When you hear international free agents coming over, you're thinking Yoshinobu Yamamoto, or maybe like an Ichiro, or like a Masahiro Tanaka, or like Ohtani, where it's like everyone's kind of involved. That is the case to the extent that was Roki Sasaki. The big factor here is that he's 23, which considers him as still an amateur. You have to be 25 for him to be like getting like the Ha-Sung Kim treatment that he got with the Padres, which means when he signs, he's considered under MLB rules an MLB prospect rookie thing, which means he has to follow that 6-year contract of like the 3 renewable years and then the 3 arbitration years, or if he's really good, he gets like super arb where he gets like the 4th year is arbitration, which leaves it to really the international, like the contract he signs isn't what he makes a season. That's his signing bonus is what is leading into it.
Right.
So if the Jays, who have about $1.4-ish million after their international free agent signings go through on Wednesday, they're not as far off. Like that isn't looked at as like you only have 1.3 million to give me. For Roki Sasaki, where he's looking is more, where do I develop into a star better? Where do I further my career? Because money's down the line. Like that's 3 years from now when he can really make the money. Right now, it's just about getting the team and getting into the MLB.
And getting used to it. And I think having his contract cheap is a good thing for both sides because we've seen it in the past where like it takes a few years to get accustomed to North America baseball. Like you don't come in and start dominating usually. Obviously there might be the odd case, and there's also a chance he breaks out and you get a cheap starter. I think Toronto has good leverage in the sense that you have a whole country behind him. If he comes in, he'll get a lot of eyes, and that's not a bad thing. Especially for international players coming overseas. It might, like, the only thing I see is like Otani and him played for Japan together. So I don't know how close their relationship is. And the Dodgers just seem to get everybody. So that's an extra piece of like leverage I could see them using. But I mean, if he visited with Toronto and the Padres twice, that like kind of leans towards those two teams as the 2 top contenders, in my opinion.
Like everyone's gonna have their doubts, and I get that. Roki Sasaki isn't going to Toronto in January when he's 3 or 4 days from a decision for shits and giggles. Like he wasn't coming here to take a look at the fucking Maple Leafs play hockey. He was here for a specific reason. He was touring the facility. He was meeting with Ross Atkins, Mark Shapiro, probably had Rogers, Schneider, Pete Walker. Maybe some players were there as well. Like we don't know fully what that was. And apparently he was throwing it Rogers Center too, which is another thing. He threw in San Diego too. There's a video out there. That's just usually kind of what they do. People want to see what they see.
How the breathing is and stuff.
Yeah, like he wasn't coming to Rogers Center in the winter for fun. Like he was there because he genuinely looks at Toronto as a serious destination. Now, where Toronto ranks out of the 3 in the serious destination is another thing. Like it's going to be really hard to compete with the Dodgers and the Padres. But with that being said, I do think the Blue Jays have more to offer personal career side than the Dodgers do at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Than maybe what people want to see. When you're 23 years old and you're coming over, like he is sacrificing 2 years of being a guaranteed ace in Japan and getting big money if he came over in 2 years to come over now. He wants to find a place to develop. He wants to find a place that will guarantee him a spot in the rotation every 5 or 6 days, no matter what.
Right.
I don't think I think those are the 2 big things for him right now, which is why I have for my list of where I think he goes is Padres number 1. The Padres have an opening in that rotation. It is Dylan Cease, Yu Darvish, who, by the way, is his mentor growing up. Like, that was his mentor. That plays a huge factor into this. Joe Musgrove and Michael King. They don't have a fifth starter, really. Like, they could throw someone in there, but they don't really have that guy. If they got Roki Sasaki, he's in there, and he's getting that start every fifth day. The Blue Jays, when you look at the rotation, it's Brios, Gosman, Bassett, Francis, Rodriguez. The Jays are pretty open that they don't want Rodriguez in the rotation if they can help it. Which leaves Sasaki in there. Probably is the number 3 arm. Like, I'd go Brios, Gosman, Sasaki, Francis, Bassett, probably. Like, he's guaranteed 5, like that 5th spot without really very much competition, all things considered. Then you look at the Dodgers. The rotation as we speak, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Shohei Ohtani, Tyler Glasnow, Blake Snell, Gavin Stone, Tony Gonsolin. The list goes on. Dustin May's coming back from injury. I think Clayton Kershaw's still with the organization. I'm not too sure, but he's there. He might be a free agent.
Right.
There's Emmett Sheehan's in there as well. There's about 7 or 8 names that the Dodgers can call on and that can go just 5 innings without hesitation. Or if Sasaki has a bad year, now he's fighting for a rotation spot. Maybe he's bumped to the bullpen. If you're Roki Sasaki, you want to go somewhere where there's comfortability. You know what your role is going to be for the next 6 years. And I think short term, maybe that's where other teams have the advantage over the Dodgers because they don't have the depth that the Dodgers do.
I agree. That's one thing that you're totally right. But it's like, how much does that Ohtani thing play into factor? I didn't even think of Yu Darvish because that's equally just as important. I feel like Yu Darvish has arguably played just as big of a factor for Japanese baseball. Maybe not like, over the last few years, but I know that could play a huge factor. But I don't know. You're right. They have a lot of pitching. Maybe they make a few moves, like trade a few guys away, because that's crazy.
Like I know
7 starters.
Like there's a couple injuries in there, but it's like I don't know. It doesn't feel like there's room for him that much.
Comparatively to the two.
The only thing the Dodgers offer that's better than any other team in the MLB can offer, besides the Japanese market that they have, is the fact that they're a World Series contender every single season, and they will be for the next 7 to 10 years, most likely.
Yeah. So a dynasty, how much does that matter to a 23-year-old?
But if you look at Sasaki and maybe, comfortability with your role, knowing what your role is going to be for 6 years, mixed with a competitive team, that leaves one team to me up and away from everyone else, and it's the San Diego Padres. They're going to be a playoff team for the rest of the decade. Like, with Tatis and Machado, that rotation's very good.
The next 5 years, at least,
as it is.
Guaranteed.
Till the end of the decade, which is about 5 years.
Right, yeah.
He gets to play with his mentor who can help adjust him to the MLB and what North American life is like, how to go about his day each and every day as a MLBer. The only con the Padres have is that he has to compete against the Dodgers 12 times and will most likely face them in the playoffs every year. That's a huge con if you really want to look at it.
Well, the whole National League is a con.
I think the Padres are a clear-cut favorite. I do think the Blue Jays are a long shot. Like, I have pros. Like, he's a number 3 arm in the Blue Jays rotation. He can be a star in Toronto and not be the public star. Like, Vladdy would be the public star. The con is that we suck. Like, there's no future. Vladdy isn't locked down. That's why I'm so intrigued by what these pitches are, that, like, how have the Blue Jays pitched the organization to Roki Sasaki that he would go there over other places?
I think it's opportunity. It's exactly what you said. Like, hey, you've seen we give young guys opportunities. Look at last season. They played half a season. I mean, you're going to be one of our guys, whether we, contend or we don't. We're gonna, develop you into what we think you can be in the North American baseball. So I don't know.
If
It
I'm
is
the Blue
interesting.
Jays, I show Roki Sasaki, Robbie Ray in 2021 with Pete
Yeah.
Walker to Robbie Ray in 2024 and 2023 without Pete Walker. And just be like, look at what happens when you work with Pete Walker. I then show them Bowden Francis and like look at a little bit of work with Pete Walker. Look at what it did to him. He was the best
Right.
Blue Jays starter in the second half of the season.
Yeah, no, he was nasty.
I think I also showed how easy the transition was for Yariel Rodriguez with the work of Pete Walker.
Hmm.
It's
There's
interesting.
numerous guys. There's numerous guys.
It's interesting. One of his former teammates in Japan, funny enough, Roberto Osuna.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So maybe Osuna's like, hey, Toronto, it's worth it. But apparently the Blue Jays are trying to sell Sasaki on like being like the face of like a country.
Right.
Interesting. I get
I
that.
always I always think that first and foremost when it comes to like signing players,
Yeah.
especially ones that are just coming over. There's a whole country behind you. Whether we suck or not, you have so many eyes on you. Period.
I do
Period.
wonder if there were any conversations with maybe a Yusei Kikuchi. I know he's not a Blue Jay anymore. Just kind
Yeah.
of what he thought of the whole thing there. Gosuke Kato is now a member of the Blue Jays front office of some sort. He was a Japanese player for the Blue Jays for like 4 games. Maybe that's something there.
Kawasaki.
Munenori
Yeah.
Kawasaki is another,
Yeah.
like, there
Legend.
are ways that the Blue Jays and Sasaki could work towards a deal,
Right. It's
but
a
I
long
just
shot.
think something has to fall through with the Padres.
I
I don't
agree.
think I'm crazy in saying that I think the Blue Jays have a better shot uh, than the Dodgers solely based off of the fact that he has a chance to be a number 3 arm in the rotation. He knows where he's going to be every fifth day and the development side of things.
Right.
It's just the fact that the Dodgers could literally just go win 140 games next year.
And it's 23-year-old, so he might be immature. And honestly, sometimes you lack the maturity to see long-term things.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and coming to America and getting a championship and all those eyes on you in October is like a lot of these players' dreams. Like it's wow, I'm big time.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but obviously, if he's coming to Toronto, like you said, he's not there to waste his time. So he's considering it.
Yeah. I look at it as like, what's the worst that happens? He goes to the Dodgers? Who the fuck cares? That's not in the American League. I'm looking at
Yeah.
this. Either the Blue Jays sign him and they have the best rotation in the American League East, or they don't sign him and he goes to the National League West.
Yeah.
Whoopsies. Who cares? The Red Sox
Doesn't
aren't
really affect
involved.
the Blue Jays.
The Orioles
Yeah.
haven't been involved from the get go. I don't even know if they even got a meeting. The
Right.
Rays, and the Yankees got told to fuck off. So
Yeah. As long as he's not in the AL, we're good.
it's a win-win. Just like
Yeah.
Soto, if it was Blue Jays or Mets, as long as he wasn't a Yankee, it was a win. He doesn't sign like it's a whatever.
We're taking small victories
Yeah.
here while we can.
The way I look at it, the second Sasaki signs, the Jays can go back and focus on whatever else it is if he doesn't sign with them. If he does
Vladdy.
sign with them, I think you take him and you're like, I'm Ross Atkins and I just signed this top Japanese arm to a league minimum contract. He's going to be an ace
Right.
on a
Yeah.
league minimum contract. And then you just kind of look and go, well, there's 40 million extra that we can throw at Vladdy.
Yeah, no kidding.
Anthony Santander, take the 5th year. I don't give a fuck.
How confident moving from this topic are you that first, Santander is a Blue Jay, and second, that we get Vladdy at this moment because it keeps on switching it by the month, by the day.
I would say Santander. I'd still say it's a generational flop from the Blue Jays if they don't get Santander, just because they've been perceived kind of since day one as the favorites to get him.
Right.
That like now that he's not it sounds like he understands he probably isn't going to get a 5th year on a contract unless it's like a mutual option. That if you're the Blue Jays, go 4 years, $92 million. Give him the
Right.
short-term high AAV. Sell him on the fact that he stays in the American League East. Rogers Center's a way more hitter-friendly ballpark than Camden Yards.
Yeah, not even close.
Like, he gets to hit with Vladimir Guerrero Jr., maybe for a year,
Right.
maybe for 4. We don't know. He gets to
Mhm.
hit with Bo Bichette. He's going to be on a team that who knows what happens, but that work, there's stuff there.
He
I don't
could
know.
easily be the face of this franchise. When if Vladdy leaves, there's an opportunity for him there, and there's a rebuild, and he's obviously like
If
I
there's
don't
a
even
rebuild,
know.
he's traded ASAP. He's too old to
Yeah,
rebuild around.
I was just about to say like I don't even know what
It's
happens if Vladdy doesn't sign.
it's hard to sell a team or a player on the Blue Jays without Vladdy signed, but I do think I don't really think there's much for Santander. It's the Blue Jays,
Right.
maybe the Angels, but I wouldn't want to go there.
But yeah.
Or Detroit. But it sounds like Detroit's focused on Bregman. If you're the Blue Jays, you just got to go to Santander while everyone else is focused on Bregman and just go, here you go, 4 year, 92, with an option for a 5th year. And be like, I dare you. I dare you to get that identical contract from someone else.
Well, yeah, the thing with Santander is like he's getting up there in age, one. And two, like he's been inconsistent for most of his career. He had a breakout year last year.
It was a fluke season.
Obviously. Yeah, it could easily be a fluke season. So
It is
like
either
he's got to
a fluke season or he's the GOAT. And it just kind of depends on if he signs with the Blue Jays or not, you know?
yeah, yeah. So he's got to realize like not a lot of teams are looking at him and licking their chops because of the situation he's been put in.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think Cadman Yards really does help his stock, like proving that he can hit like he did in that ballpark with all the renovations is kind of helps, but I mean, age is the biggest thing.
Yeah. I would say if we want to switch to Vladdy,
Let's do it.
is that there's 2 offers that are out on Mr. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. That I have seen this twice now. So I'm pretty confident in saying that these are probably the offers. And they're 2 very different contract offers in a sense when you look at them. One contract offer is 10 years for $380 million, which would make a 38 AAV, highest paid Blue Jay, highest paid first baseman in history, a top 10% earner, one of the highest AAVs in baseball. I don't really know many more people making over 38 million. The other
Right.
one's 12 years, 440 million, which is same highest Blue Jay contract ever, highest first baseman contract ever, highest contract in the American League East. That goes for the other one as well. That's I think the 3rd highest contract in the American League, maybe the 2nd highest. I don't remember what
Wait.
Bobby Witt got, but it's right
Uh,
around what Mike Trout got when Trout signed his extension. A little bit lower
right.
AAV, it's 36, 37, so I'm
Does he care
1.5.
about 2 years?
Really means nothing.
Right.
It puts him into a category of kind of different players than that 380. 440 puts him in that's Mike Trout area, not many people have got
Superstars.
over that. Like Judge didn't get 400. Corey Seager didn't get 400. Freddie Freeman didn't even get 200. I don't think. I'm trying to remember. He might have. Betts didn't get 400. There's others like Cole didn't get 400. Manny
I mean, yeah,
Machado, Bryce Harper didn't get 400. Like that puts him into a category above everyone else. Like Devers didn't get 400.
for
It
the time being.
puts him in a top top 5 MLB contract in history.
Right.
And they're two very, they don't really, like, they aren't different, but when you look at them, they're very different contracts. That makes you wonder if they're both on the table. What's in that 10-year 380 that has Vladdy contemplating that as a good contract over 12,440? Like, what is in there that he hasn't? They can't be identical contracts, or he would have kicked that 10,380 out to the curb already. So what's
What's
in there?
the AAV on the 440 or
36.7 million,
36.7
and the
opposed to
10,380 is 38. So like they're basically the same. It's 1.3 difference.
incentives? You
There's
have to think.
well, I'd assume there'd be incentives in both. Like
Well,
it's
yeah, but
he'd like MVP, Silver Slugger, Gold Glove,
right.
LCS MVP, World Series MVPs. Like you got to assume they'd be in both. Maybe
Yeah.
there's a bigger signing bonus on the 10,380 than the 12,440.
Yeah.
Like
That's what
maybe
I'm
it's
thinking.
enough to make that contract like 10,430, 10,420.
Like a bigger guarantee.
But
Like
like
I know injuries too, like
it's
how to
it's weird.
injuries work with contracts.
Maybe the 10-year has like options at the end, or maybe there's like an opt out in there
Right.
where the 12,440
Right.
doesn't have it, like it's locked in.
Yeah.
But the
I
way
think that
Vladdy's
would
made
make
it
sense.
sound is that he kind of would prefer that. So
Hmm.
I think it's interesting that those two contracts are on there. They're two similar but very different contracts that I don't know. It's interesting. I do think,
Yeah.
I think personally, the confidence level is pretty high that it gets done. Because I think it gets to a point where if we're nearing the deadline, I think Ed Rogers looks at the fact that if he loses Vladdy, he loses a lot of fucking money, where he's just going to go to Atkins and go, "What's the number? I'm going to
Yeah.
sign him. What is the
Yeah.
number? It's my fucking money. Let me spend my money on Vladimir Guerrero Jr." So I'm pretty confident that that gets done.
There was a few weeks there where I was like starting to get worried and
Oh, it
panic a
was
little bit. And
not
don't
looking good a couple weeks ago.
yeah, yeah. And like honestly, we're not out of the woods. Obviously, anything could happen. But looking at the way they're just top spenders for everybody. You're right. I think if it comes down to it, like 2 weeks left or a month left before the you know you you don't have any more time or whatever, he's gonna be like, okay, what does he want?
Mm-hmm.
Let's make this happen. We can't let this guy flop. We're looking for a superstar around the league. If we don't sign our superstar, you fucked up.
Yeah.
And not only did you lose the guy you build your team around, the guy you built up in your system, but you lose all that money in marketing that the fans literally like love this guy.
Yeah.
Come to games. There's been seasons that people come just to see Vladdy and Bo, but I mean Bo is like
Well,
I don't even
2019, until Bo came up in like late July, early August, the
right,
only reason that people are at games was to watch Vladdy play. His debut, they sold out.
right. And like look at Twitter. We're
Yeah.
getting a new prime minister. I see people saying they
Vladdy for
want
PM.
yeah. If that's not enough to convince you, like, hey, Canada needs Vladdy, then I don't know what it like.
To me,
What to tell you.
I look at it that if Ed Rogers has greenlit two $700 million contracts for external superstars, he'll
Yeah,
greenlight a $500 million contract for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Hell, he might
well,
be
for
the one
sure.
to offer it.
Right. No, I think he might push people out of the way and be like, get the fuck out of my way.
Yeah.
This is not your deal anymore. Let's get this shit done. And why not? I mean, hey, the only reason we're in this stratosphere of like contract is because of Soto and Otani. They waited too long. They fucked up, and now they got to pay the piper.
Yeah.
So
I don't want to say I'm the contract god, but
yeah,
I
you do.
remember
Yeah.
saying, I do. I remember saying at the beginning of the offseason, if the Jays signed Vladdy before Soto hit the open market in the playoffs, they could have gotten a
320.
10-year, 11-year, 340 million, 330-ish, like 330 to 350 is kind of like the range I was in.
Mhm.
They could have signed him for that.
Easily.
What did they offer him post Soto? 11,340. What
Yeah.
have I been saying since Soto signed? He gets 450. What do the Jays have on
Whoa.
the table? 12,440. So
I,
he's going to sign
it,
for 12,460.
it makes me think like they were obviously waiting because they wanted to sign Soto. But were they going to let Vladdy walk if Soto signs?
No. No, if Soto signs, that would have been like, you remember like the Otani unicorn stuff? It would have been
Yeah.
similar to that. There's no way they would have said, hey, Soto, come to Toronto for the rest of your career, but we're going to lose Vladdy and Bo in the process.
Yeah, I guess.
It would have been
I don't
like,
know.
hey, who do you like more?
They kind
Vladdy or
of
Bo?
they have really disrespected him in this process though. So if Vladdy stays, if and when hopefully, he hates management, in my opinion. I don't
Yeah, well,
think
I mean, management's gone. Like, I
or at
don't think
least
that's going to be a huge thing for him.
yeah, like but regardless, front office, he doesn't like who he works for. They've made it clear that it's just a business at this point. There's no relationship.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to keep, which I don't think he gives a shit. He's like, pay me so I can fucking play for these people.
Just, yeah, pay me, goddammit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think that gets done.
I hope so, man. I'm really riding on it because even if we go back to a losing team, God forbid, I just want to see Vladdy hit in a Blue Jays uniform. And
For the rest of
if he
his
hits,
life.
yeah, and yeah, no, I would fucking pay to watch that for the rest of my life if that was the case, if it was possible.
The tweet that makes me the most confident about Vladdy and an extension is the one
Mhm.
from Hector Gomez. And I know everyone's like, oh,
Oh
it's
God. Oh
Hector
God.
Gomez. Oh, the dude has been A plus when it has come to Vladdy contract talks. Like so much so that Vladdy's confirmed reports that Hector Gomez has put out there. He has nailed everything regarding Vladdy so far. Everything. So when I
Right.
see him put out that the Blue Jays plan to make a second contract offer to Vladimir Guerrero Jr., which will be very close to what the player is looking for, that brings me billions of confidences that
Bro,
this gets done.
I just want them to give Vladdy what he's asking for.
I
Like
also want
it's
it to be done so we can stop with the fucking
yeah,
shitty fucking trade proposals from the brain
yeah.
dead Yankee fans, the brain rotted Mets fans, the stupid fucking Cubs fans, all of it. The Red Sox fans. Don't we get started on that fucking place? Those people don't know shit. Like Wilyer Abreu does not get you Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Tristan Casas doesn't get you Vladdy Jr.
Their whole team.
I need this contract to be done so I can stop seeing these
Seriously.
godforsaken, horrific trade offers because I'm ready to fucking shoot my eye.
Well, and you'd look back at our content for how long, and it's only been Vladdy talk. Well, no, we have things sprinkled around it, but it's always Vladdy talk, and I'm just sick and tired. Like, and bro, I have people coming up to me because they know, like, obviously, the Blue Jays is a huge part of my life, and they're like, "How about that Guerrero? They're not gonna get it." And I'm just sick of everyone just like, shut the fuck up, please. Just sign so I could just tell them like. They don't even know who he is, and people are coming up to me talking shit.
I
Like that. Yeah.
can't wait for that contract extension because I am going to talk my shit.
Oh yeah,
Every
that
Yankee
part's gonna be
fan,
nice.
every Mets fan, every Cubs fan, every Red Sox fan is going to
Everyone.
have me muted or
Yeah.
blocked because I'm tired of this shit, man. Ben fucking Rice for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Shut the fuck up.
Hey, I hope he doesn't sign when I'm in Vegas because I want to do like an instant pod, like
we're going
instant
live with or
reaction.
without you, Matt.
Oh man.
Oh.
No, I'll go on my phone. If I'm in a casino, I'll go on my phone.
You put the money on the Blue Jays World Series right there.
Yeah, for the next 10 years in a row. 11 years.
I guess we should also address the elephant in the room. The Blue Jays signed Jeff Hoffman to a 3-year, $33 million deal with incentives to $39 million. He's going to be the closer, it sounds like.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like number one closer, like split closer duties with like Chad Green. Either or, pretty chill with.
Our bullpen's shaping up.
It's looking pretty nice. If you can get Yariel Rodriguez in there, dare I say it, it's a rebuilt bullpen. Like, I don't think they'd need another arm if Yariel gets in there. I wouldn't be against like an Estevez or like a Kenley Jansen, but
right. But they've addressed it. I feel like
they've done a really good job addressing it. You got Garcia back, traded for Nick Sandlin. They got the best second baseman defensively to ever touch this sport. And no, that's that. I'm not even joking. That's a fact.
I know.
And then they get Jeff Hoffman, who after 11 years since being drafted by the Blue Jays 9th overall, is set to make his Blue Jay debut. And I think that, ladies and gentlemen, deserves a round of applause.
Yeah. Hey, we didn't even talk about the fact that arbitrations.
Arbitrations, whatever. Blue Jays settle. They got Vladdy for less. I want to talk more about Jeff Hoffman.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I just
Hoffman's sick.
It is.
He failed 2 medicals, which some people are physicals, which some people are concerned about. And then we learned more as to why. So the Braves had a 5-year contract to make him a starter. So if they saw something that, like, maybe the arm wasn't going to be satisfactory, like if it wasn't flying colors, I get that. To not have it. Like, I wouldn't want to sign a starter that, like, in 2 years his arm's going to be out if he throws 140 innings. The Orioles have a history of backing out of deals. Like, it's just kind of what they do with pitchers. They back out and then renegotiate a cheaper deal. And Jeff Hoffman said, suck my cock, and signed with the Blue Jays instead. But, like, the Blue Jays, who Ross Atkins isn't a guy to just go out and spend money for the sake of spending money. He is the guy who literally quoted, I'm going to stick to my evaluations on players when it comes to signing them. I don't care who they are. He's not going to splash $40 million on Jeff Hoffman for his to have a, like, rotisserie chicken UCL or whatever. Like, I don't know. I don't look too much into the failed medicals. I look at it like, if he was a starter, I'd probably have some concerns. But if he's a reliever giving you 50 innings next year, who really cares?
Yeah.
He's going to be electric. I love watching it. It happened so fast. I didn't expect it. It
didn't even pop up on my radar until the day it happened.
I'm a big fan of Hoffman, especially last year. Like, he was sick last year. And yeah, I would have liked it, but I didn't expect them to spend big money on relief pitchers because the Sportsnet beat reporters told us that the Blue Jays weren't going to spend money this year. So they were wrong.
Which is stupid.
It's the largest reliever contract I think they've ever handed out. Pretty neat.
Interesting.
And yeah, I mean, the incentives, make it $39 million, the signing bonus for $5 million. I can't wait to watch Jeff Hoffman close baseball games out for the Toronto Blue Jays for the next 3 years. I hope he makes it his personal mission to stick it to the Baltimore Orioles, because we need a guy who can do that to them, because Mountcastle has been shoving it to us for years, and I'm fucking tired of it.
Get that guy out of the sport.
Yeah. And then, I mean, if anyone wants history on Jeff Hoffman, he was the key piece in the Troy Tulowitzki trade in 2015. We
got him back.
I think he was our number 1 pitching prospect at the time, too, above Matt Boyd, Daniel Norris.
Daniel Norris, holy.
Yeah, talk about some names there, hey? So Jays officially win the Tulowitzki trade.
Officially now.
Also, I just want it to be said or known, I'd be so down next year, like 2026 season, if the Jays wanted to experiment maybe a Jeff Hoffman starter pitching route. If they want to. If they don't, or Hoffman's more like, oh, I actually kind of like closing games out in Toronto because it's fucking sick and I'm the dude.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that too, but I think he's got the pitch mix to be an effective 5-6 inning guy.
I think it comes down to looking at his health, and obviously, in a game where surgeries are, the top of the sport right now, you don't want to like kill his arm.
I
He's
think
not the
depth
youngest
comes in.
Right.
Right. And depth comes in too. Like say the Jays don't get a starter this year. Somehow, for some reason.
If they
usually
have
don't
to.
get it.
Yeah, if they have to.
And then, Bassett's gone at the end of the year. And who knows
Gosman.
what Manoah's going to be like in August when he returns. Ricky Tiedemann hasn't been healthy since Nate Pearson was in diapers, it feels like.
Yeah.
Other guys like Trey Savage is probably a year away. We don't know what he's going to be like. And then, Brandon Barriero is another guy, but, don't know. Jake Bloss, don't know.
What's next offseason going to look like? Holy moly.
I think next offseason depends a lot on what this offseason looks like.
Well, yeah, Vladdy's the number one.
If Vladdy's locked down, I think the number one priority goes to Bo Bichette.
Right. Depending on how he plays, I mean, I still think there's a lot to see with Bo in this season.
That's
obviously.
why I think the Blue Jays' interest in Alex Bregman is more than just you're Alex Bregman, we'd like you at third base. I think they look at Bregman if they sign him as you're probably going to replace Bo Bichette as the stopgap for a couple years until a guy like Arjan Namal is up, or maybe Orelvis Martinez takes that step.
I was just about to say, yeah.
Maybe they trade for a guy. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think if the Blue Jays are hovering at 500, I'm shipping Bo Bichette out ASAP, and I'm looking at my number one guy I'm looking to get back is Jordan Lawler. I don't know if that's possible, but that's where I'd be looking first.
It really depends where his value's at come the trade deadline and where we're at as a team. There's so much up in the air with this team. It's crazy. I don't remember a time where I've been so confused, not confused, but where this team is going to go in 5 years. There's no rebuild. There's no certain, contender period. It's just we're right in the middle of
we're the Calgary Flames of the MLB right now.
Yeah, we could easily contend, but we could easily start over with one fuck.
I would say at this point today, there is still a path for this team to be a wild card team.
Yeah.
There is still 100% a path that this team sneaks in as a 6th seed, maybe a 5th seed.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bo Bichette's going to have a better year. There's no way he's going to suck. There's just no way. Even if he's a 250 hitter, that's an improvement on last year.
Yeah.
The bullpen is going to be better too. And that's just a fact. We have 3 guys who can close out baseball games this year. We had -4 last year.
Right.
I think guys like Joey Loperfido are going to take that step. I don't know if you've seen some of those off-season videos from Joey Loperfido. I'm hyped. I can't wait to watch him. He's making the adjustments. He looks fucking great. I can't wait. He's my big guy. I'm so high on Joey Loperfido. I've been high on Joey Loperfido since we traded for him.
Hey, I'm excited to see.
I think a guy like Orelvis is gonna make a step too. I don't know. Maybe Addison Barger's in there. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. 3 prospects making the step is huge.
Yeah.
But I think Loperfido and Martinez are my top 2 breakout candidates for the year. Hitting wise, I think Francis continues his thing and kind of establishes himself. But
yeah, he can establish himself as a solid argument for an ace if he continues what he was doing last year. I mean,
but
geez.
Say you're the Blue Jays and
you get another good.
figure it out and hits the ball kind of all over the place. And Elvis does stick around all year and is as advertised, along with Bo Bichette just kind of being Bo Bichette again. That lineup starting to look really good. I think a guy like Will Wagner's great at the leadoff spot. Yeah, like there's still a path there.
Santander comes in,
Yeah,
gets us some power.
If you get, spend a couple more bucks, get a Santander, maybe you grab a Sasaki, or maybe you find a Jose Leclerc in there, or I think I'd like to see a trade for Ryan Nelson with the Diamondbacks. He raises the ceiling.
Santander, Sasaki, and Vladdy by the end of next year, or by the end of
February.
Oh my god, the three of them, and I'm like, okay, we got a shot because we still
the three of them, and there's a shot that team could there's the path to like a division crown is there all of a sudden.
Right. And you have to think we still got Gauze. He could return to form.
Yeah. Barrios is an ace.
Yeah, Barrios.
Bassett's a solid number 3. Francis is a solid number 3. Yariel Rodriguez is a really sick number 5. Like, I don't want to discount him. Like, he's a really good pitcher to have in there. I think he piggybacks well with a guy like Jake Bloss when the time comes.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think a guy like Sasaki, though, is important for the Jays just because of age, controllability. Like having an ace under control for 6 years at 23, you your rotation builds around him and Barrios and the hopeful emergence of one of Jake Bloss, Ricky Tiedemann, Trey Savage. And then who knows what anyone else could do? Like everyone else could fall off the face of the earth tomorrow.
Yeah, there's not many good young pitchers in the game these days that develop really good. So that's huge for the Padres, for the Blue Jays, for the Dodgers. I mean, less the Dodgers. They got so much
Dodgers.
But I don't know. I'm excited, more optimistic than I was, like I said a month ago or whatever. I was really down in the dumps, but we got some good energy and I'm feeling good. So let's make it happen, man.
Before we go, I want a quick final prediction. Dodgers, Blue Jays, Padres, where does Roki Sasaki sign?
I think he will sign in 4 days on the 17th, and he will sign to the Padres.
I think we hear a leak on the 15th that Sasaki has chosen the Padres, and I think the 16th we hear Jeff Passango breaking news. Roki Sasaki has chosen the San Diego Padres. The Toronto Blue Jays finished as the runner-up and really thought that they were going to get him, and then everyone in Toronto is going to want to die.
Yeah, and then we signed Vladdy.
And then we hang the banner of almost got Sasaki 2025.
Yeah, next to Ohtani and Soto.
Next to the almost got Soto 2024, almost got Ohtani 2023.
We're the best at almost doing things.
Toronto interested. But that's going to do it for the podcast. Hopefully the next time we talk, it's because someone major has signed Roki Sasaki, maybe Vladdy, maybe Anthony Santander. Who knows? Nobody knows, especially us. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment, subscribe if you guys are brand new to the channel. Let us know where you think Roki Sasaki signs. Tell me why we're idiots, why we think there's a shot that the Blue Jays could get him. And we'll see you all in the next one. Peace out. Goodbye. Bye.
Bye-bye.